I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We're joined by Noble. Hi.
Hey there.
Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, okay. My name is Noble, or Noble1717. I've been doing PNG tubing and VTubing for a couple months now and been having fun with it. Stream, edit videos, and I like to talk. I'm a talker. Yeah.
Well, that's perfect for interacting with the chat. You find that easy to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the chat is popping off and talking about what's a good one? Whenever people start talking about like life or life lessons,
mm-hmm.
that's when I really shine. I just start going off and start talking about all that kind of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I don't let people do that with me because my life lessons shouldn't be learned by anybody. They're going to go with me, I'm afraid, and keep them away from everybody else. When did you get started streaming on as a VTuber or otherwise?
Oh, that is a good question. I probably have to look that one up real quick. I could just go to my live thing. I think it's been 3 or 4 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's been 3 or 4 months now. Yeah.
Well,
I've been
go ahead.
Which I've been doing videos for a minute now,
Mm-hmm.
or at least for the last couple of years. But it's been for like other people. And recently, in November of last year, I started actually taking it more seriously and making more and more. And then eventually, I started doing streaming 2 or 3 months ago.
Mm.
That's been fun.
So as watching the other people doing it brought you into it? Was it something you enjoyed watching and wanted to be a part of?
It's so weird. I didn't really know much about VTubers in general until recently. So like I knew of them. I just I didn't really know much about it. And then I was streaming a game and I was like, I really would like to have something moving around doing stuff when I'm playing the game that isn't just the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered VTubers existed. And I was like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, let's do that.
So did you find it easy to get started? Did you have the equipment there with you?
I did have to pay a dude on Fiverr to make the PNG and then eventually to make the VTuber models themselves. But besides that, I've worked with OBS before. I've worked with editing softwares before. So it's like it wasn't too difficult. I knew where to find the resources to make everything happen. So I just made it happen.
So you were editing for other people?
Yeah, for a little bit.
How, I haven't asked somebody this yet, but editing for some other creators, how tough is that to do, and not just, you just look at it and do your own thing, or do you spot things? How does that process work?
Well, it's actually more difficult editing for other people because when you're editing for yourself, you can cut corners. You can be like, all right, this will be good enough. I'm tired and it's where I want it to be. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that for someone else, especially if you're getting paid. Because then it's, all right, I got to make sure this is solid. I got to make sure this person enjoys what I'm making. Is this the style you want? Is this the tone you want? And it adds a more bit of stress on yourself when you're working on editing someone else's videos.
Yeah, especially if you're working on something like 2 o'clock in the morning and you come to a place where you think would really be a good place to make an edit, but that they didn't say that's a good place to make an edit.
Absolutely.
Should I make that call on my own, or should I? I'll save it both ways. Is what I'll do.
Exactly.
That's what we ended up doing in radio a lot with commercials, radio commercials. We do it a couple different ways and play it back out for the person who ordered the commercial, and whichever one they liked, they did. Usually, they didn't like either one of them, and we just did it again. So,
oh no,
but that's the way life goes. When you're doing it for somebody else, so what types of people were you doing it for? Streamers, gamers?
So the videos I was editing at first was for a Arma 3 community,
Uh
and those are bad videos. I wasn't getting paid for that.
huh.
It was just, hey, we need someone to make like little montages, kind of like Soviet Womble kind of
Mm.
vibe.
Okay.
And so I was using Sony Vegas, and that was such a bad editing software. It would crash all the time. Oh my God. So I learned a little bit of patience from that software.
Yeah.
Uh, Not enough, unfortunately, but is what it is. And did that for like a year, and I was like, oh, I kind of learned a skill set. I can kind of make videos.
Yeah.
And so I'd make videos every so often for myself because I thought it was fun.
Hmm.
And eventually I was like, I'll just start making more videos for my channel. Why not? And then I worked for a different VTuber for a month or two,
Hmm.
and everything was fine there. But eventually I was like, I don't want to do this for other people.
Yeah.
That's too much stress.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you kind of had gotten the hang for doing this and doing your own editing, and you know what you want when you go in.
Yeah.
And if you cut out the wrong thing and you can't get it back, well, that's on you.
Yeah.
And you can yell at yourself rather than have somebody else yell at you.
Exactly.
Yeah. The
And I can take down the videos too if it's really bad. And I'm just
yeah.
like, oh, hey, you know what you do. It never happened to it.
Yeah, but yep, that's right. There's always a reason why we have a raw save file. so so we
Exactly.
so we don't lose this stuff when we accidentally hit the wrong button, whether it's audio or video. So, was this something? Did you always want to be kind of an entertainer when you were younger?
Nope.
No.
Actually, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, to be honest. I was born in the middle of nowhere in New York,
Hmm.
moved over to Houston, got a job in oil and gas, all that good stuff.
Mm.
And the whole time I'm just thinking, like, what do I actually want to do, with my life? And I realized I like making people laugh. I like talking, and uh, yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be good at it. So I said, screw it. Let's give it a shot. And
Yeah.
so far, I'm having a good time.
Were you a theater kid in school, or did?
No,
Yeah.
we didn't even have theater.
Oh.
We we our class. I think the largest class we had was like 80, 70 or 80 kids.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
that,
when I say middle of nowhere, I mean cows and corn, a little
mm,
lower, and
yeah.
the Amish.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Illinois, so we've got a few of them that are like that still. Not too many with a lot of
Oh,
consolidation, but there's still one or two of them that have just a few people attending. And that's an experience in itself, and certainly was back when I was in school. Uh,
yeah,
made a big difference. But the because of that, you didn't really have the exposure to it, did you? That of being in front of an audience.
yes.
Wow.
I actually had major stage fright
Oh,
whenever I was expected to talk in front of people.
yeah.
And eventually, actually in high school, there was a networking class I was in, and we would have to stand in front of the class and talk about certain things and kind of do a little bit of improv
Yeah.
about it. And I guess that's where I was like, oh, hey, I can actually do this. Neat.
That's good. Yeah. Well, yeah. It showed you that you didn't have to be scared in front of the class, and although getting in front of a microphone is a little different. Um,
Yeah.
there's some people who can get up in front of a lot of people. You give them a microphone and they freeze up. And somebody like
Yeah.
me, who's the other way around, I can do the microphone no problem, but I don't like to talk in front of 20 people. But
Mm.
uh, it does make a difference. But you were able to transition it over pretty easily.
Yeah. I got a little bit of a funny story if you don't mind. I
Sure.
love telling stories.
Yeah.
Uh so I had a buddy of mine who's like super extroverted and is loud and talks a lot, and I was like, yeah, I love to have him on my stream,
Mm.
and we can BS, play some game, and have a good time. And I was like, this is gonna be great. He's already talkative. It's awesome. As soon as we got into the mic, dude shut down. I was like, oh no. And that's when I learned just because someone's talkative and loud doesn't mean they don't get that stage fright, you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It happens in a hurry, and you see somebody would be perfectly fine just talking normally from the crowd, but when it's a performance, that's when the anxiety hits.
Yeah.
It does make a difference. And I used to do interviews with high school kids for people who had just committed to a major university football team, and talking to 17-year-olds, you either get two things: one, a somebody who is extremely smart and great, answers all your questions, no problems, and it's a great interview, or you get one-word answers.
Oh, those are rough.
Yeah, and when you've got 20 minutes to fill and you're already done with your questions by 3 minutes in.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
That's
please.
that's the worst.
Yeah.
I saw a video. You know the guy that does the chicken wings with the interviews?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh he had like Shane Gillis
Mm-hmm.
on his show, and he was like, how was your childhood? And he's like, good. And they go to the next wing, and I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, that's
Actually, let me tell you another story because I love this.
sure.
I actually had an interview with a famous celebrity before.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, it was at a convention, like one of those anime conventions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what was his name? The guy from Star Trek. Q? Q from Star Trek was
Oh,
his name.
John Delancey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was able to snag a interview with him.
Oh,
Uh,
wonderful.
yeah, so here's what's happening. We're at the convention. The people I was with, they have like this little website radio thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, we need to get an interview with John Delancey or however you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, have you contacted his people? And they're like, we don't know who his people are. And it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll go digging and see if I can find anything.
Yeah.
I come to find him actually at the hotel restaurant that the convention is being held in.
Yeah.
And he's eating some lunch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot my shot. So I talk to the waiter, I pay for his lunch. He
No.
comes over and he's like, hey, thanks for paying for my lunch. I'm like, no problem. He sits down, we have a conversation about like banana rum in like Cuba or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, this radio channel is trying to get an interview with you. Would you have time for that someday? And he's like, yeah, we can do it in like an hour. And it's like, okay, cool. And just got that knocked out. I was like, oh, I can talk to people. What the hell?
Yeah,
That was weird.
it's amazing when you talk to somebody who's got some celebrity like that.
Yeah,
When you actually talk to them like human beings, you realize that
oh,
they're
absolutely.
human beings. But if you come to them and fanboy all over everything, or fangirl as the case may be, the shields go up, and you're going to get exactly
Yeah,
the same things everybody talks about. I talking to all sorts of people over the years. 35 years I did it on the radio. Um,
yes,
and the first thing you do is disarm somebody, and then you go from there. And that you get the greatest interviews with people, and they want to, and you just have a conversation more than anything else.
exactly.
Sounds like you broke the ice very quickly and very, very adeptly when you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The actually, I wanted to ask you a question real quick, if you don't mind.
sure, go right ahead.
Uh, so I did a little bit of research before the interview
Oh
because
no,
it's good practice,
oh no.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw the channel. You've been putting a lot of work in.
Oh,
Like, damn, I congratulate you. That is a lot of interviews. What? And I know you're talking about the radio
hmm,
experience beforehand.
yeah.
What made you switch from radio to wanting to interview the P&G tuber community?
Well, I haven't been in radio for over 5 years now.
Yeah.
I had to leave it because I wasn't getting paid any money. $10 an hour does not feed the bulldog. Um, and I was getting awards for doing it, but awards don't feed anybody either. Um,
Exactly.
so I had to get a real job after 35 years, and I miss getting on and talking to people. And the thing I like the most is interviewing and just discussing things with folks. And while watching, I enjoyed watching VTubers and hearing about their stories a little bit. Everybody's got stories. They're all coming from different angles. And it's just all very interesting to me. I mean, I want to hear about the person who was a shut-in until they saw somebody on the YouTube, and now they're not only are they on a channel with a lot of people interacting with them, but it's helped them outside the channel as well. They've opened up a little bit and they've blossomed a little bit. People who are singers and artists, and this 20 years ago wouldn't have happened. You couldn't have done this 20 years ago. When I started radio in the 80s, I'm a very old man. Talking to somebody in the Philippines would have cost $1 million because of Ma Bell back then, and it would have sounded like
Oh
me
man.
yelling into a tin can. It wouldn't have been worth the money. And now to be able to just sit here in my house, pick up the microphone, turn the computer on, and have somebody waiting for me on the other side of the planet is amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of it. And all you
Yeah.
guys, I mean, I'm going to throw you all in one bucket here, so don't be too upset. But y'all have great stories.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all very interesting. There's different reasons why you do that. Your reason was the first I'd heard that type of reason in all of these interviews, and it all makes, and people need to know this stuff, and people need to know a little bit behind whys, and maybe if they listen, I know that there are VTubers who will listen and pick up tips,
Yeah.
and or pick up, get validation for what they're doing, and that's wonderful. It's great for me. It's great for them too. And as long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. So,
Nice.
yeah. So, did that answer your question, you pesky? Oh, sorry.
My answer is sufficient. My question has been sufficiently answered. Thank you.
Otherwise,
I
I'll take the fifth.
exactly.
That works on the internet. So on your channel right now, what are you streaming?
Well, I've been stuck in the Elden Ring hole, just like the other 20 million people streaming Elden Ring right now because of the DLC.
Yeah.
And I haven't even touched the DLC yet. Oh my god. I started a new game. I thought it'd be easy. I beat it once. I can get to the DLC area fast. And it's
Yeah.
like, you need to be level 120. I'm like, oh shit. Wait, swear.
No, don't worry about that. That's there's grinding, and then there's hyper grinding.
Yeah, I'm trying, but it's drip or drown, and I'm drowning, brother.
Where are you at right now as far as the level?
Oh god, I'm in the Scarlet Rot area to the east of the starting place,
Well.
and it's just, brr, it's just, brr. But
Well, you're gonna get
kind of,
you're gonna get talent. You're gonna get some content for a while though.
yeah. It's usually the same content of either me being super angry, or super chill, and we're talking about life lessons and wisdom,
Yeah.
or it's me cooking pancakes. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I usually do a cooking segment of my stream, and then I hop over to the game for the second half of the stream.
Oh, excellent.
That's been pretty fun.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
good. I like seeing the folks doing the cooking stuff on the streams. Not only is it I grew up in the '70s and watched people do cooking shows on television, but you didn't get the live thing like you do with a live stream. And people
Yeah.
doing this now, you kind of pick up a little more personal when you get to see it being done live like that. Now the pancakes.
Exactly.
What type of pancakes?
Well, I make my own kind of pancakes with the obviously the batter bought from the store still. I ain't gonna mix all that together. I ain't got time. But I do add a little bit of coffee into my mix, an egg, and some milk to the batter, and it actually turns out pretty good. And you get the real maple syrup, none of that fake stuff.
Wow.
You want the real maple syrup.
So what does the coffee do?
Or the butter. I don't know. I just keep doing it, and it makes me happy, so I just keep doing it.
And that's our in-depth analysis.
Exactly. I do what feels right, and I feel like coffee would be good with these pancakes. I'm gonna
Well,
put that in there.
yeah. Well, I mean, if it works, it works. You know, that people. That's how
Exactly.
I come up when I was a bachelor for a long, long time. That's how I came up with anything that I cooked. I say, does manwich taste good on spaghetti? Well, yes, it does. So I'll keep doing that. It's,
Dude, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that could work.
yeah, that works. And
Oh,
sure enough, I was hooked on that for a long time, and it was cheap and easy, which is another thing that I was very much as in the radio business. The M in media
oh.
stands for mooch. Don't ever forget that. We'll take anything that's
So
free.
one of the reasons that I've been doing cooking on the stream as well, because before it was just gaming,
Hmm.
but I always enjoyed cooking. And one day I was like, I'm going to do a cooking stream, but I
Well,
need a camera. I never worked with cameras before. I had to figure that out.
oh yeah.
Then I wanted to get a wireless camera, and
Hmm.
that was a nightmare, but I made it work. And I realized that, oh, I like streaming IRL as well, which is funny because someone said, you're a VTuber and you stream IRL. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Well,
why not?
well,
Screw it.
what's stopping you? I mean, people do that now, and
Yeah.
they're on the same stream, but they're different things. I mean, really. So what you're supposed to do? Have your model rigged up to cook in real time? I don't think that's going to happen.
I've seen some big VTubers where they have only their hands
Mm,
like floating IRL
yeah,
and like everything else is like green screened out. I don't know how the hell they do that,
it,
but they do.
it
And it's
looks
really interesting.
it is interesting. It looks kind of funny sometimes.
It does. It looks like a magical pair of hands just cooking food. It's like, what is going on? They're chopping carrots. It's like, it's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. And they kind of float off the screen, and then some of them keep their model on there, and the model reacts to it, and then you got two people chopping onions on the screen.
Exactly.
It's a bit odd, but you're making it work. And how's the audience reacting to having both of those in the same stream?
It's mostly the same. I do have a few people that'll stop by just for the streams of cooking, and then I have a few people that stop by just for the streams of gaming.
Hmm,
But I have like a core audience of dudes that'll stop by in both because they like the conversation.
that's the way to
And
do it.
so
Yeah,
make it
that's
work, you know?
sounds like you've got a good plan here. I mean, it's always going to be the personality of the host that brings people back.
Yes.
No matter what your medium is and what you're doing, no matter how your camera is, or most of the times the quality of your microphone, unless you're using the tin can I mentioned earlier, um, people come back for the personality, and sounds like you've got
Yeah.
it going.
Appreciate it.
Wow, sounds like you're going strong.
The the one thing I've been noticing as of late, this is more of a YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I noticed that so ever since like Mr. Beast did the whole engagement editing style where it's like really fast paced and they try and drag you along for the whole video and stuff,
Right.
people have gotten kind of tired of that and they want something that's more real or more authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too tired and lazy to, do all that kinds of editing. I'm like, I could be real. I could be authentic. I could do that. And I think that's what people are craving right now because there's just so much like I don't want to say fake, but like like
Showy.
fabricated
Yeah.
content where
Yeah.
it's like, did this really happen, or is
Yeah.
it just something that
The
they made up?
the camera happened to be here when this happened.
Exactly.
Like trying to explain to my wife about Pawn Stars. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that, but yes, the camera happened to
Uh,
be there when all of these things happened.
exactly. Oh, Pawn Stars. Gee, I'll give you $100 for the Holy Grail. The best I can do. It's gonna sit on the shelf for a while.
And no one's gonna want to buy it. Yeah, okay. Well, how about 110? Nope, 100. 100, and you give me
Yeah,
your
all right.
hat.
Let me talk to the manager real quick. We'll do 112. I
Uh,
do.
112, and I take your car.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like okay, sure. That's how it goes. That
I used to watch those guys a lot when I was a field technician on the road.
mm,
That was That was fun because that's all they had on the hotel table
Oh yeah,
TVs.
I bet. Well, I mean, if you take it as it is, and you realize it's at best recreations of what might have happened in the past, it's fine. It's fun to see something get you know if somebody brings in something that you don't know what it is and say, well, bye, this is something that was made 150,000 years ago. Okay, well, I'll give you $5 for it. That type of thing. And it's
Um,
again, if you accept it for what it is, it's perfectly fine. But
yeah,
it's most of the reality stuff is about as real as oh government. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to talk about politics.
it's fine. I have feelings about the government, but that's neither here nor there.
Nope,
But
nope.
a funny thing
Yeah.
that I think that actually kind of sets me apart from maybe a lot of the other VTubers, except for like Giga, because she worked like a legitimate major job before.
Hmm.
And like I worked in the oil field. I still work in the oil field.
Yeah.
VTubing don't pay the bills right now, so
Hmm.
I gotta work. But working in the oil field for about 12 years has really given me a lot of like life experience
Yeah.
and like the ability to like make things work. Like as a service tech, I was expected to make it happen. And so
Yeah.
I had to learn that set of skills.
Hmm.
And that plus talking to the clients, that was a nightmare. They're always angry.
Oh,
They always got the gruff voice.
yeah. They're not talking to you because they like you. They're-
Exactly.
that's and the ability to be adept enough to make the best out of the situation helps you in a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can tell you a lot of radio stories where suddenly our equipment didn't work, but we still had to finish a 2-hour broadcast or something like that. Um, and
Oh,
that's where your MacGyver skills come in, and you start turning turning your cell phone into a transmitter and that type of thing. It really if as long as you can do that, and I imagine that helps you while you're on a live stream where something might just not work the way it's supposed to, but you have to do something because you're still on stream.
exactly.
Well,
That actually happened this morning on
uh,
my stream. I didn't realize that so like I use OBS
mm-hmm.
and the capture screen was capturing like way too big. So you only got like 1/4 of the actual screen. And it's like, what the hell's happening? Found out that Elden Ring crashed at one point and reset the resolution scale. And I learned a little bit about resolution working on the cameras.
Yeah,
And I was like, let me check that. Why is it fucked? Turn that back to normal. Yeah, it works again. Yay.
and that's something you wouldn't even think of. It crashed. Now bring it back. No, it crashes and changes everything, and then you have to reset
Yeah.
everything to get it back. Oh man. Well, what have you got going on in the future here? Have you got some big plans for the channel?
That's actually what I'm trying to work on right now
Mm.
is like what do I want to do next? Because right now I'm kind of just grinding out this Elden Ring DLC thing. I'm gonna
Well,
get sick of it eventually, and
well,
I'm gonna have to move on.
well. You haven't gotten to
But
it yet. you
I know
can't get sick of it
I'm
yet.
getting sick of it. I need to get there faster. But the one thing I want to do, because I do this on Fridays for sure, is like I try to make the Friday cooking stream something interesting or something that I like to do.
Hmm.
And because if you do something that you like to do, people can tell.
Oh
If
yeah.
you make something or play something you don't want to do, people can tell. And it's like, it's
Mm.
boring. It's like, oh, you can just feel them being bored.
Yep.
So Fridays, I try to do something either new or something that I know how to cook. Because
Yep.
if it's new, it's interesting. I want to try it. If it's something I like making, I'm gonna have a good time no matter what.
Wow.
And yeah, I think I might do Korean fried chicken next
Whoa.
week. That'll be fun.
Now I've heard nothing but good things about that. I haven't tried it, but
Me either, actually.
I would love to try it because everybody says it's the best.
That's
Maybe,
why I keep hearing I want it.
maybe Paula Dean doesn't say that, but everybody else says it. It's the best. Well, I mean
Yeah.
that's very It's a very good explanation that you just gave about audiences. They have to enjoy. If you're enjoying it, the people who are going to stick with you are also going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
And if you're doing interviews, if you're talking to somebody, if you're not interested in what's going on, they're not going to be interested in what's going on. So
exactly.
you gotta have some curiosity to go and go from there. It sounds like you've got not just the curiosity, but the talent and the want to keep this going. And I wish you all the best with what's going forward. We're going to have the links to your sites on the description for the interview coming up. Thank you, Noble, for coming on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, man. This has been great.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.